Hello everyone, it's Robin here at Toadstool Tarot. I haven't bought any decks in quite a while. I just haven't been finding anything that appeals to me. But recently, Deanne over at Blue Crescent Tarot showed or shared this deck, and I sort of fell in love with it, even though it's considerably different from what I'm usually drawn to. It's called the Green Menagerie, and it comes in a really beautiful magnetic box. It's from, I can't remember the name of the creator. It's got a really pretty box, very sturdy. The only thing is I actually pulled the cards out ahead of time because it's got a little orange ribbon to help you get the cards out, and they sit firmly or snugly within this kind of velveteen, hard foam recess. And the problem I had with this is I don't know if it's glued into the box or not, but the bottom edge, you can get your fingernail right under, and the bottom card had slid its way under the edge, which I hate. If there's going to be a recess, it should be, like that. So you can get the card out. This was like that, and it was like right underneath that bottom card. And even though there was a ribbon to lift it out, that bottom card wouldn't budge. And in my anxious attempt to get it out, I almost tore the card, so that wasn't great. So I thought, well, I don't want that to happen again while I'm getting ready for this, so I just pulled the deck out. But on top, there is one of the most beautiful guidebooks I've ever seen, which has a kind of a rose petal feel to it. And it's full color with all the images of all the cards in it. And this is a curated deck of cards from various artists. And unfortunately, there's not really information here about the artists or the creator. I got it on Etsy. If I can find the link again, I may stick it in there, or maybe just Google the Green Menagerie Tarot. It's a really strong, really graphically strong, beautiful deck. And even though all the artists are different artists, they all seem to have in common this quality of their art looking like it was from theatrical movie posters, or art from the design of book covers, but in a sort of a classical mode. You'll see as we go through. And generally speaking, I don't like decks that are many different artists. I like, one point of view. But there's something about this that for the most part works. I think the color palette is really stunning. And this book, the odd thing about the book is it starts off with the minor arcana and goes through each of the 4 sets, and then it ends with the major arcana, which is really odd. But it has a really, really good. I love this book. It has a really good interpretation of each of the cards and their meanings. So I think it's a pretty good sort of standalone book. Anyway, the cards themselves are beautiful. They're thick. It's a thick deck. They are edged in a matte kind of forest green or evergreen, I guess. Really beautiful. And I'm not really big on metallic edging, and these aren't metallic. It's like matte green, and it's a nice touch. Kind of matches the back, and these are beautiful backs. The backs are totally consistent with what I said before about strong graphics and sort of poster style graphics. Reminds me of no, I don't know if it's silkscreen or woodblock or some kind of engraving. All of those things. Very standard kind of printmaking quality to the artwork. The cards are the same size as a standard tarot. They're very stiff. They're matte, kind of a slick matte, but they don't glide well, as you can see. I don't riffle shuffle. They might be good for riffle shuffling. I don't think they're going to be really good for overhand shuffling. Maybe they will wear a little better with time, or maybe I need to take a dusting powder to them or something. But anyway. So what I thought I would do, I put them in a different order than they arrived in, because they start off, as I said, with the minor suit and then end with the majors. So I put the majors first. And here we have the Fool. I hope everybody can see these pretty clearly. And I hope I can feed them off the deck without them getting stuck or clinging. I'm gonna snatch my glasses and put them on so I can see a little better in this light. The fonts are different from card to card, I believe. Some are similar, some are different, some have numbers, some don't. I did find one error in the deck. The Eight of Swords was mislabeled. They got the Roman numerals wrong on that. I'll show you if I can remember when we get there. Here's the Magician. Now, I do tend to love decks with classical art. And these seem definitely like classical art. I can't place the time period, though. It could be anywhere from the late 1800s up through the 20th century. And some seem more modern than others. Some are surreal, like this one, the High Priestess. Some of them are sort of like, almost like cartoons, like old political cartoons or something. Some I like better than others. They're all nice. There's a few. Not thrilled with the Empress, but it's okay. The Emperor, I'm not big on comedy kind of comic cards, but I sort of like this grumpy Emperor. The color's very fiery. It does have a silkscreen kind of quality to it. The Hierophant, this one is sort of collaged in a couple different styles, has an almost anime type cat head on a more realistic body of a Hierophant. The Lovers, this is exquisite. It's a very kind of modern color palette with this sort of odd, deep kind of teal blue or something, and hot pink. But if you look really close, it has a quality like a Gustave Doré engraving or something. Here we have the Chariot. And you see the number 7 down here. Very stylized. I think that's meant to be the 7. This is the 7th card. And I think it's a Hebrew letter. Some of these do pull almost directly from the Rider-Waite. And some of them I kind of like that, and others I sort of wish they'd go in another direction. But the coloring and the design of this one, for instance, is an intriguing take on the Rider-Waite. Strength we have here at 8, which is like watercolor style. Some of them are a little more contemporary looking than others, like this one is. Here we have the Hermit, which is very Rider-Waite Smith, but it has a kind of Santa Claus wintry coloring to it, even with snow coming down. Wheel of Fortune, very Rider-Waite again, but strong, bold, vivid orangey colors on a black background. I actually wouldn't mind a whole RWS deck colored like this. Justice, dark and dramatic. It has a kind of a Wonder Woman feel to it. The Hanged Man, very dark with sort of light radiating all around. Again, an interesting color palette for an RWS. And this is probably my least favorite card of the deck. It's a Death card. I generally am not fond of red and green together. Although this is a kind of an orangey red, which sort of works a little better for me. I do love the sort of kind of spirit escaping the skull in this sort of like sinewy cloud. I'm not fond of the animal skull. I don't know, graphically, it's just this part, the bottom part, appeals to me more than the skull. Has that wispy smoke, has a very kind of Art Nouveau feel to it, but I'm just not crazy about that skull or the coloring. Temperance, beautiful, beautiful Art Nouveau, Pre-Raphaelite kind of imagery. The Devil. Great Devil, looks very almost symbolist or something, or surreal. The Tower, beautiful Tower. This could be like the cover of a Rebecca du Maurier novel or something. I hope these colors and graphics are coming out okay on the camera. Here we have the Star, the Moon, again graphically strong, although I could stand a little more color in this. The Sun, beautiful sun, very kind of Victorian children's book era type illustration, with the sun depicted with petals instead of rays, like sunflowers here. And the baby that is often referred to as a creepy baby is more of a toddler and not as creepy. Quite beautiful. Judgment. Very stylized. Kind of smoky sunset Judgment. It's like mountains or smoky fire. I'm not sure. Maybe just the mountains at sunset. Has almost the look of a aftermath of a forest fire or something. The World. This is again a more contemporary looking illustration. Now I haven't shuffled these yet or laid them out. I suspected when I saw these that I would really enjoy them one card at a time, but also as a layout, the variety of color and design was going to be really interesting to see. We'll check that out at the end. Have here the Ace of Wands, which is a little bit odd, although if you know Wands being the fire suit, fire is associated with salamanders, and we have a single salamander on this Ace of Wands. Two of Wands, very striking. A few of these have a quality almost like of, if you're familiar with the European cartoon Tintin, they almost have that kind of illustrative style. Three of Wands. I believe this deck designer did a couple other decks that combine tarot with regular playing cards, and he's done this effect before. I'm not fond of it. I would just as soon prefer this card without the clubs on it. But again, a sort of a modern depiction with a hooded long coat. But this is my card, the Three of Wands. I very much like that. Again, a more modern depiction in the Four of Wands. We've got a celebration cake, maybe a birthday cake, or we've missed you since you've been away. Welcome home. Welcome back. In the traditional R.W. Waite Smith, Rider-Waite Smith, we have looks like people competing and completing a race, running to the finish line in celebration. Five of Wands, this is very different. This has an almost wartime illustrative feel to it, with five fingers on fire and a very kind of graphic tattoo and interesting graphic font. Beautiful Six of Wands. It's funny, some of them we have Roman numerals, some we have Arabic numerals. This kind of reminds me of old Sunday newspaper comic strips like Prince Valiant, if you're old enough to remember things like that. The Seven of Wands, very dark and dramatic. The Eight of Wands, again, right out of Rider-Waite Smith. I love this. I'd love to have a whole deck with this kind of coloring. Very strong graphics, beautiful palette. I just love the palette in general of this deck. The Nine of Wands. This reminds me of maybe sort of Depression era illustration from the 1930s or 20s. Kind of makes me think, for some reason, of the movie The Grapes of Wrath. 10. This one I'm not that keen on. It's okay. It's workable. It's got your traditional 10 of Wands from RWS, but superimposed by the playing card. 10 of Clubs. I'm just not as keen on it. It's okay though, it works. Again, a sort of a stripped down coloring of Pamela Coleman Smith's art. And her art again. This one has, really strong outlining. Very graphic. Kind of reminds me of a cross between Japanese anime and Pamela Coleman Smith. Beautiful fine line, kind of Asian, Japanese style. Pen and ink and colors. And I love how the sunflower on this one looks almost like fairy wings. We've got the cat, typical of the Queen of Wands, very gentle look on her face. Delicate face, beautiful eyelashes. Stern King of Wands, very dark and foreboding, thoughtful. The Ace of Cups, gorgeous coloring, beautiful reflection in the water, the liquids. The Two of Cups. This has an almost, I want to say, Dutch feel to it. Three of Cups. This one is beautiful, but I don't like seeing familiar faces in the deck, and this looks so much like Nicole Kidman to me. And sorry if I've spoiled it for you by saying that, but I'll probably never look at this card without seeing her face in there. And it reminds me of a movie. It wasn't The Witches of Eastwick, but there's a movie like that with three gals who are witches, and I can't remember the name of it. Is it maybe Practical Magic, or I'm not sure. But it's beautiful. It's just, I kind of wish I didn't see a recognized actress in it. This is modern again. Four of Cups. I like the mixture of the styles here. This looks almost like a World War II war-torn kind of image. Five of Cups, very stylized. Pamela Coleman Smith. Six of Cups, Japanese art of two children. Not something I would have picked, but it works. A color stripped-free version of the Seven of Cups, which I really like with color, so I'm not sure they stripped your choices, 7 choices of color out of this down to basics. Beautiful Eight of Cups. Again, I like how they've mixed styles here. These illustrated line art cups and a kind of watercolor wash in black and white for the Eight of Cups. Nine of Cups, modern graphic illustrated style, comedic, kind of like a political cartoon or something. Maybe this could be out of the New Yorker or something. The Ten of Cups. Page of Cups. Gorgeous. Very fashion kind of content. Knight of Cups. Book illustrated style. Or even a book plate style illustration. Queen of Cups, sort of modern, contemporary, kind of comic twist. Not as keen on this take. It's beautiful art, but, Bride of Frankenstein reference on the Queen of Cups. Don't know about that, but it's beautiful. Ah, I love this King of Cups. Very gorgeous and dramatic. The high cheekbones, the defined beard, the delicate hand and crown. It's very much kind of a forest of, what is it, the king or the chief of Nottingham or something from Robin Hood, or some traditional King Arthur story or something. Sheriff of Nottingham is what I was thinking. The ace, again, I don't like the playing card thing combining with the RWS, but it works. Some cards I feel much more strongly about and I'm drawn to than others, and I would say I like more cards than the ones I'm not as fond of. Two of Swords, Three of Swords, beautiful shaded, shadowy coloring in a sunsetty, kind of bright pink-orange glow. Here we've got the Four of Swords, sleeping or passed out. He's got a blanket over him, so I guess he's sleeping in the tomb. RWS, just in a kind of an ombre color line drawing. Six of Swords, very different, very interesting. We've got a boat with swords drawn over water, raised aloft by a balloon. I like the fact that you're sort of like lifted above your troubles and are floating beyond them. You may have a checkered past. You're moving on beyond and away from your troubles. This one again reminds me of Tintin, Seven of Swords. Now here's the one I meant that is misprinted. We have a beautiful Eight of Swords with invisible bonds. I like how the bonds blend with the background, but they got their Roman numerals wrong, and they actually got them right in the book. You see they have here V and 3 I's for 8, but for some reason they messed up when they printed the cards, and it's a card number 13 instead of card number 8. I think I can live with that, but if they have a replacement card for it, I'd love to have it. Nine of Swords. I love this. It's sort of the nightmare card. I love the way her eyebrow is sort of arched in sleepy anxiety or nightmare anxiety. 10 of Swords. I like the almost comical feel of this. We have someone in death with a real awkward position of their butt kind of sticking up in the air and heavily stabbed in the back. It has a very stage-like feel to it, and I suppose that could be the setting sun like we have in most cards. It's either a sunrise or sunset, but it almost looks like a picture from the theater with a drape of the stage curtain or something in the background. Very dramatic. Page of Swords. Looks very sculptural. Knight of Swords. This is in the coloring of the political Obama Hope poster. Gorgeous Queen of Swords. King of Swords. This looks like Game of Thrones. I'm familiar with the graphic. I haven't actually seen the series. But it also looks like, I can't think of the artist's name. Was it Art Spiegel, who did, I think, the Mouse series? Although it's a fox, not a mouse, but it has a similar style illustration to it. And I sort of like the idea of the King of Swords being very foxy, sly, clever thinker. Ace of Pentacles, again, a new coloring on RWS. A lot of these RWS ones with these colorings would all make great decks of their own. The Two of Pentacles, cartoony, humorous, not overly humorous, but humorous enough. It's okay. I like the colors. Three of Pentacles, very book illustration style. Love it. Four of Pentacles. Again, this pulls me back to Tintin. Five of Pentacles. Six, beautiful. Seven, this has a kind of a Western or American farmer kind of feel to it or something. Eight. Again, that sort of different take on playing cards with fallen diamonds, but we also have Pixie's art here. This looks like an Aubrey Beardsley illustration. 10, we've got a nod to the Marseille Tarot, but instead of a bright color, it's a dark palette with a black background. This one looks like a late 1800s theatrical engraving. Could be even like Sarah Bernhardt or something. Knight of Pentacles. This brings me back to Prince Valiant. Queen of Pentacles. Here's another celebrity. This looks like young Queen Elizabeth. I don't quite mind this as much as the Nicole Kidman card, but still would prefer it was unrecognizable. Somehow, this age of the era, this illustration, and her in her youth reminds me of this deck, which is earlier, 20th century, or, some 60, no, more like 80, 70, 80 years ago. And lastly, we have this King of Pentacles. So this is really a beautiful deck. Oh, not as difficult to shuffle as I thought it was going to be. They don't really fall that well. They do clump a bit. You have to use your fingers to kind of pull off the top cards. It does pretty well. I'm not going to spend long shuffling here to get a good mix for you, because it will take too much time, I think, with this particular deck. But know that the cards do kind of cling and clump a little bit. And like I said, maybe they will wear a little easier over time. Let's see how they look in a spread. See, there we got a couple stuck together. It's like a trip through a contemporary art gallery. I like it. And I think the thing about them all being different styles and all being very appealing is that I'm going to enjoy, when I do my 3-card spreads, sitting and lingering and meditating over the images, because they are very different styles, and looking to see how they work together, play off of each other. So thanks for spending a little time with me today and getting to have a look at the Green Menagerie Tarot. Just beautiful. Haven't decided yet if I'm going to keep them in this box, even though it's a beautiful box. Just not sure about that padded card holder in there. Okay, I'll let you all go till the next time. Thank you. See you soon.